I assumed that steel took over from various animal guts. We will get into that in just a moment. I just want to say welcome to all of my new followers. If you are new to my page, I explore things violin related, food related. You'll get some funny things. You might get a couple of political things. I am a lefty, so yeah. Okay, so to this comment here, or question, you will be very surprised as to when gut strings actually started being used. Okay, so this is a Baroque violin. If you look, I have all gut strings. Now, I also don't use fine tuners on here, on the tailpiece, and there's no shoulder rest on the back. When you see modern violins like this, you will see often for the violin, a fine tuner for the E, sometimes also for the A, a chin rest here that helps with holding it under here, and then oftentimes full get-ups with like a bar going across that's like raised up from the violin. That's a shoulder rest. I don't do that. Well, I do both. Okay, so back to my Baroque violin. All of the strings are uncovered gut, so raw gut. That means that the strings are not covered or wrapped in any kind of metal, and they are just plain raw gut, no fine tuners. Now, when did we start seeing covered or wound strings? For the lowest string on the violin, the G string, it was the late 1600s. By the mid 18th century, it was more common to see wound G strings. And when did the other strings actually start getting covered as well? Well, you're gonna be shocked by this. But let me talk about the D string, which is the next lowest on the violin. At a certain point, they started doing what they call demi-filet, which means they would wind, or they would add in a coil of metal into the string, and I actually still have one of those strings. I'm not sure how well you're gonna be able to see this, but you see that pink little kind of helix going through the string? That is a gut string that has, I believe, copper, a copper thread going through, and it's wound into the string, and this is for the D. But when did they start covering all of the strings? World War I, because the availability of gut, high quality gut for strings, was very difficult, because what ended up happening is that they needed all of that gut to be used for sutures during the war. The interesting thing to me is that violinists complained about the quality of sound that they could get out from the E string. I remember in my master's degree we talked about this, and there were accounts and letters from violinists saying that the E string wailed so much so that they couldn't get a nice sound out. Now, the other interesting thing is that European violinists stayed with all gut strings much longer than American violinists. They held out longer, and I believe part of that is because they had string makers all over Europe that were able to get gut to make the strings with, so they were able to then keep producing them longer. But because of availability in the States, people switched over much quicker because they needed something to play on. So yeah, it's really interesting how what we do today and the style that is today is very recent, and yeah, it's just interesting to learn. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Like and follow for more, and yeah, hope you're having a good day.